really attracted you to this? Like, how far back in your life do you remember thinking, man, I really want to help companies start and go through the process and have that relationship with them and see them succeed? And
I think I got a taste of it pretty early on in my career. So I bounced around out of high school. I didn't go to college right away. I bounced around from career to career, tried a lot of different things, and ultimately went to work for Intuit in technical support for QuickBooks.
yeah,
And wasn't initially thrilled with the job. I didn't want to sit behind a desk all day. But I didn't really know what I wanted to do until I started that job and working with companies, trying to, small businesses, trying to figure out how to document their business.
yeah,
And that was just really fascinating to me. I quickly kind of grew up the ladder at Intuit and moved from technical support to training. I then moved on to sales operations and was given a promotion as a product manager and was asked to relocate from Tucson, Arizona to Silicon Valley, where I came on board with just this most amazing man, Rich Walker. He was my very first mentor. He was the one person that saw more in me than I saw in myself. And he brought me into a role in which all of the other product managers were 20-somethings right out of college with an MBA from Stanford.
mm-hmm.
And I didn't look anything like that. I didn't have a college degree. I had worked my way up through the ranks.
Yeah,
And he believed in me. And that made me start believing in myself.
yeah.
And so I kind of lost track of the question. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Well, and let's what you're skipping over is amazing, right? You were a flight attendant.
Oh, yeah.
You sold cars.
Yeah.
What else did you say you did? You worked for a pyramid marketing
Yes.
type.
Yes.
Which one was that?
It was called Jewelway International.
Okay.
And I was their PR manager. And
Okay.
so, and I managed their trainers.
What other? You were grinding, basically.
Yeah, I was
hustling.
just trying to figure out like where I fit in this world.
Yeah.
All the while having children. So
Sure.
I had 3 children, and I, like you said, I sold cars. I was a flight attendant. I tried out for the FAA. I took the FAA exam, of which I bombed. Apparently, I have spatial issues.
Okay.
I
To be
tried-
an air traffic controller.
right. And so
And you also trained to be a firefighter.
firefighter, which was hysterical. Bless my heart, my husband is so supportive, and everything that I said,
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, he was like, okay, that's great. I'm so happy
Right.
for you. And sometimes I tease him and say, why didn't you just say, dude, you're 120 pounds. You're not going to be a firefighter. But he didn't. He supported me all the way, and I learned as I went.
Yeah.
And had some crazy experiences.
How old were you when you got the call that you're going to go from Tucson to Silicon Valley? At this point, you had finished your degree
Yeah.
at University of Phoenix,
Yeah,
and you're working into it. How old are you at that point?
28.
Okay. Now, we probably won't have a time to get into all of your story, but you were declared had a learning disability growing up, and it turns out you have dyslexia.
Yeah.
So the whole point here is, here you are, thinking whatever you think of yourself. And
Not
I remember interacting with, now everyone's got special needs, but when we were growing up, I'm 47. There was somebody had a learning disability.
Yeah.
And they were in a smaller class in school, smaller in size.
Yeah.
And some of them were my friends, but they were I don't know what they did, but they were in a different class.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was really like for them and dealing with that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think as a society we didn't deal with that well. and then you don't go to college, and you're grinding, and you're
Mhm.
hustling, and you get married, which is a great thing to do, and you have kids, and you're doing all the things that you should do, right? That you were raised to believe in having a family. And then there's all these people going to Cal Berkeley and Stanford and whatnot, right? And Silicon Valley. Well, what year was this when you were 28?
Well, I
Was
can't
this
say
late
that I
90s?
was 28. It was 1999.
Okay, yeah. So
I don't know how
the
old I
internet
was
is
then.
booming.
Yeah.
Companies are just dumping money on people to go join. You don't even have, well, kind of at the age of you don't even have to go to college. They were trying to get you into computertraining.com and but anyway, but there was also still this whole Silicon Valley thing. The internet was
Yeah.
about to the dot-com bust was about to happen. But here you are. You get the call from Tucson, which is a hot blazing place near the border, right, of Mexico. I've been there. And the next thing you know, you're in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
I mean,
I had
that
no
had to have
idea.
just been incredible.
Yeah. I had no idea. I had
But to walk in there with confidence. So thank goodness what's his name, Rich?
Rich Walker.
Rich is the kind of guy that gave you some confidence, but then you're probably looking around. I'm sure I would have like, what am I doing here?
Yeah. Well, I was older than my peers.
Yeah.
And I hadn't gone to Stanford and I didn't have an MBA. I had a bachelor's degree from the University of Phoenix. And I had 3 kids. And here's this giant company, and they're putting all this faith in me
Yeah.
to launch their professional advisor, their certification program for their professional advisor program. And so I did that, and I jumped in wholeheartedly, and all the experience that I'd had in working at Intuit and working up the ladder and through all of the different departments helped me be more effective in that role than somebody that had just graduated from Stanford with
Sure.
an MBA.
Yeah.
And so it really,
Did you have any run-ins with those people? Those people being like, did you sit down at lunch at sometimes and they ask you some questions about who you are, and then they're like, really?
yeah, I didn't really talk much about
Okay.
who I was.
Good.
I don't like to talk about myself, which is ironic that I'm sitting here talking to you about myself.
That was a lot. That was a good thing that probably at that time.
Yeah, no, I didn't really talk about myself at all. I definitely have always been a question asker. So what are you doing? What are you working on?
Yeah.
Anything to take the focus off of me.
And I guess maybe fortunately LinkedIn wasn't really a thing back then for
Right.
anyone to go and do a bunch of internet searching and
Right.
like this Donna, not that mattered, right? Because your boss. Did you have a chance to have some good sit downs with him and really say, so what is it you saw in me? Like, why me?
Yeah, we still have those conversations.
Do ya?
He's one of the mentors that I introduce my founders to. He's an amazing man, and I thank him.
But what does he say though? When you probe him with why me? What did you see in me? What does he share with you?
That I was scrappy and that I saw things that people don't normally see because they're expecting not to see those things. He appreciated the fact that I could break things down into very small bites and that I empowered others to, deliver what I had expected. Like I had high expectations of others, and I think that's because I had really high expectations of myself. And so, when you believe in other people, they tend to deliver. The more you believe in people, the more they
Yeah.
deliver. And so he has said that about me.
Yeah. And Intuit, did they ever sell?
Intuit? No, they acquire. They're an acquirer.
Yeah, I think that. Gosh, I can't remember. I'm sure somebody like Microsoft or somebody wanted them, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
And they were like shocked, like what?
Yeah.
And they offered them whatever they offered, and I mean, when I use TurboTax. I have for probably 20 years. I think I may have made the mistake and used Tax Cut one year and maybe Tax Slayer, but I'm a TurboTax guy.
Yeah.
And like you said, I remember using QuickBooks kind of for the first time and really being amazed at like, wow, like what a powerful software package can do for a small business owner that may have no background at all in accounting. I happen to have taken some accounting courses and I understand accounting. And I was kind of looking at it from that lens.
Right.
But I just have always felt like they're just such practical business applications that truly do like solve small business concerns, or even the households, right?
Right.
And making it, and sometimes teaching you and educating you and very user friendly and informative and compliant.
Right.
Which is very important.
Right.